Hey everyone. Now I'm in the data center, also known as the garage, and I'm going to do my server upgrade today. So I'm going to just log into the thing, shut it down, rip it out, and get stuck into it. Okay, so the first thing I've done is shut the VMs down. Now I'm just going to go to the server and shut it down. Alright, that's shut down and the cables are out. So should be able to just rip this out. Let's throw that down here. And surprisingly, that still looks pretty clean. Well, I've got my compressed air here while I'm here to give it a bit of a blow. It's really clean. Okay, so you can see what I've got here. I've got a stack of hard drives here for the data storage, but the operating system's on this little one here. So I'm going to pull that out and put the new one in. Firstly though, I am going to take these hard drives out so I don't inadvertently make some mistake somewhere and accidentally mess with them. So I'll just unplug their data for now. You can see I've got the USB expansion card here for all the TV tuners and my dual NIC card there, which is now in the way. So I have to piss that off to be able to get to the thing underneath it. And I've got the new one here. If I can get into it. Oh, I came with a screw. New one's in. Alright, so there's my backup plan. Just put the old one in if this all goes tits up. So what I've got is the firmware version Debian on this USB stick that I'm going to boot from. And I'll show you how I've just got this hooked up here. For the moment, I've just got the video out going into a capture device here so I can record it to show you the install. And I've just got one of the network cables plugged in because I haven't set up any of the LACP stuff yet. So it's just basic power, keyboard monitor, network. Okay, so turn the AC on, which will automatically start it up. And if I'm real lucky, I'll be able to see this and I'll be able to boot off this. There'll be a bit of a delay though because of the way this captures by the time it shows it, so it might take a bit longer than normal if I was using a real monitor directly. Anyway, here we go. Okay, we've got the Grub installer. Grub installer, you know what I mean. A bit of English. Australia. Key maps American English. Okay, so that's the first issue. I couldn't get a network address. And that'll be because that's an LACP port at that end, but this obviously hasn't been configured yet. So I'll just plug it into a normal non-LACP port. I don't know how long I'm going to do this before I have breakfast, because I'm starving. It's just coming up to 5 in the morning. While that's doing that, I'll just have a look at the list of things to do. So I'm going to do, obviously, the install that I'm doing now. Then I'm going to muck around with DNS to hard set its DNS server config. The network addresses and mount the drives. Once I've done the network addresses, I can go to the desk and do everything from there. I don't have to be out in the garage anymore. So once I've got the basic network connectivity happening, I'll do the rest from the desk. This is the Raspberry Pi I've been using to stream my cameras out as multicast because VLC worked on it. That's one of the reasons I'm doing the upgrade, is to get rid of this. So for now, I'll just rip that out. I'm done with that. And you probably want to avoid drinking a cup of tea over an open computer. Okay, installation finished. I'll just see if it boots up. So I'll pull that USB stick out of the back. See if it manages to just do a basic boot up. Okay, booted up, but I'm going to shut it down because I just wanted to see if it booted up. And now I'll plug the hard drives in and do some basic network setup. Alright, so just plug all those back in. And that's it for in here. So I'll put the lid on properly now. Well, not properly, just slapped back on, I suppose. Alright, so the hard drives are connected and I'm just booting that back up. But I'm going to do the config from the computer on its existing network and then just come out here to replug them in because it's too hot out here and it's too hard to see on that little laptop screen with the delay. So it'll boot up and I'll just SSH it from there. Okay, so first thing to do is find its IP address. So I'm just going to go to my router and see the lease list. And there should be something with a 100 dot address and it'll be that one. So now I know where that is. And there I am. Check the one, it's been up for 3 minutes. So Now I'm going to follow my instructions and do what I needed to do. So luckily, I copied them here first. So that's basically what I'm going to do. The install I've done, and something else I've got to come back to is turn the screensaver off and do a bit of this and that, the power save. I'll get back to them. For now, I want to fix up the network. So what I'm going to do here is take out the DNS automatic settings. So I'm just going to make a file here. So sudo vi that. Ooh. Right, we're into it. And basically I'm just going to put this in there. I'll show you what that does. Basically, if you do the resolve.conf, you'll see it says generated by network manager. If you change that, that might automatically get overwritten, but by doing what I just did, it'll prevent that. So it'll always stay what I set it to be. So next is my network config. And because I'm using a bridge and a bonded interface, I have to install a couple of things here. So that lets me do the bond interface, and that lets me do bridges. So I'll just install both of those now. This is the other thing on my list. Should have followed the list. Okay, so in my install, where I say remove CD apt source, what I mean is where it looks for packages, it includes the CD that's no longer in there, which was the USB thing. So I can do sudo bash because I didn't put a password in when I installed it. So if I go to CD etc apt, the sources, you'll see one of them is the CD-ROM. I just pissed that off. Now when I do apt get update, it'll be fine. So that stuff I want to install here, I can just install now. On the other one. And what I'll check is the interface names. So I'm going to use EMP6SO and 7SO. I'll check that they're still what they are. So IP link 6 and 7. Okay, so it should be good. So in network interfaces, this is going to be modified with basically all this, which from auto. Now I'll start again. So just check that one in. So loop back there, what I'm doing is saying, okay, these are the two adapters, make them alive, set up a bonded interface out of them. So that gives me the bond 0. Then what I do is set up a bridge adapter and give it its address. So that's like setting an address on VLAN 1, if you like, assigning it to that bond interface. And there's a IPv6 address as well. And I also make some other bridge interfaces. I don't give them addresses, they're just for the VMs that I'm going to be running on this thing. But 80 is going to have an IP address. So that's going to be my camera network, which was coming from the Raspberry Pi, but it's going to be on here now. So that should hopefully work. So what I'll do is I'll shut that down and I'll go back out there and plug it into the LACP ports. Okay, so these are two from the switch LACP, and I'll just plug them into the network card on the back here. Okay, so I did have one just going to the onboard network interface for the setup, but now I've just taken that out and plugged both of them into the dual network card here. Okay, so I booted it up and it worked, so I should be able to get to it here. Now when this is not going to work, when I do this, it's going to complain because obviously I've changed it. So I'll just remove the old one and SSH to it. Server is just a script I've got to SSH the server. It just saves me typing SSH server. It's just that I'll have to do this manually for now. Okay, so the IP addresses are all there, the bond interfaces are there, everything's there. So that looks good. It can find its way out to the world. So far it's good. Okay, I can also ping from VLAN 82, which is good because that was something new, having the address on VLAN 80 here. I didn't have that before. So that works. Okay, so what I want to do now is mount the drives. So I've got these 4 directories for the 4 hard drives in there, and I've got the ID for the hard drives, which won't have changed. That's made when you format the things. So what I've got to do is just make those directories in the mount directory. So mount, there's nothing there. If I try to make them here, like Swan, it'll say piss off. What I'm going to do, someone might bitch at this, but Swan, make a server. What I'm going to do is change the owner to be me for all of them. So now I own them. So as a regular user, I can write to it. By the way, in case you don't know what touch does, it just makes a file or updates an existing file's time to now. It's just a quick way to test if it's writable. So now in the etc, just go sudo again. This is what's mounted when you boot the thing up. So at the moment it's just got its system disk. But what I need to do is add the 4 hard drives. So I'll just do that there. And I'm going to reboot to see if that worked. Okay, so now it should be back. I've fixed this up so I don't have to keep typing yes. But mount storage, I've got stuff there. Okay, so this is just some stuff that I've got in one of those drives. So the drives seem to be working. Front, just dash cam footage. So if I just type mount, I should see them here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, beautiful. And the reason you use the disk ID rather than SDA1 or SDB1 is because it can change. It's you never know which one's going to be A, B, or C or whatever. So that's why you put them in by ID here. So the hard drives are in. What's next? Okay, so next is to install VLC, FFmpeg, and UDPXY, which is just a UDP to TCP proxy. And VLC, I'm going to do not via apt-get update. I'm going to do it via snapd. So, because of that RTSP issue. So if I go to the server and just do that. What I will do is, something I forgot to take note of, is set this console color to be red rather than the standard green, so I know when I'm on the server. Okay, the other one was FFmpeg. Okay, now for UDPXY, I'll just get it first. This one I've got to make myself. So, yep. And make that. Okay, make's not there, so I'll have to install build essential. Okay, so now make will run. So now I've got this file UDPXY, which is the runnable one. It doesn't need anything else, but I don't want to do a make install because it puts up the stuff everywhere. So I just want to copy UDPXY to user local bin. So that'll do. Now I can run it. Now the next thing I want is for UDPXY to run automatically on boot. So what I'm going to do is, there's the command I want to run, but I'm just going to make this startup script, which I'll put into etc initd. So etc initd, just call it UDPXY, and put that there. And now I have to make that run at boot time. So it's just update rc etc. Let me just go in there. I'll show you what's in there. All these scripts start up automatically when it starts. So update rc UDPXY defaults. That'll make it start automatically. So if you go to one of the other levels here, you'll see it's added it here to run at that run level. And I think that's it. That should be it. So what I'll do is I'll reboot it, because at the moment VLC doesn't run. It doesn't know what that is. I'll just do a reboot. Okay, so now VLC is there. Now the old CVLC isn't there. So what you've got to do is put -i dummy for when you're doing stuff like this, if you want to, like a CVLC. So next on my list of things to do is the camera scripts. So what I've got is a script to start the multicast streaming from the camera, and then I've got another script to record it via UDPXY. And then of course I've got to update those defaults like I just did with the other scripts. So in here I've got my scripts. script camera 1, it's things like this. Basically VLC with that dummy interface, go to the camera, stream it out as TCP because it avoids the glitches, transcode it because the audio shit on those things, and send it out as multicast. That's all that does. Okay, so here's the scripts, and I want to get them on the server, so I'll just copy them to the server. Okay, I put my ID on there before, by the way, with the SSH copy ID. So anyway, they're over here. So let's say for script camera 1, it's there, and I've just put these in the user bin as well. So I'll move all of those scripts into user local bin. And that's good and well, but they won't start up automatically because the only things that start are things that are in initd. So back in my little notes over here, etc initd, there's some different scripts. Now someone will say this is the wrong way to do it, and they're probably right. But this is a different script to make it start that script. So I'm going to copy all these scripts now. Script all of those into server. So those scripts that are just copied now, I'm going to move into initd. So they're in here as well, but I have to do the update RC defaults as well. So in my little notes here, I've got them here. I'm just going to copy that because I didn't want to type that all out. Just go boom. Okay, and I should check if that actually works first before I get too carried away. So I'll just pick one of the cameras. Okay, this is the command it would run. And that will stream out to 239.1181. Yeah, it seems to work. So if I go to VLC here on this computer, go RTP 239.1181, should be the front door, and it is. And I've done it in less than an hour, so that's good. So the multicast streaming works, but does it work automatically? Let's try it. So after a reboot, I shouldn't need to touch anything. That should just start streaming out the video. Okay, so the server's just rebooted, and I didn't have to touch anything for it to start streaming out the multicast video. So that part works. Oops. Front door, okay. Today, list it, and there's my video coming in. So it's 13 meg, 15, 16. Don't know what this cat directory is. Yeah, you know what that is. Fucking cat shitting on my front yard. Anyway, the video's there. So that was from the last reboot. So it is continuing. So I have video recording. So I'm pretty much done for now. All right, so that's the mission critical stuff running, which is the network config and that video recording for my security cameras. The rest can wait a little bit. So I didn't have to go to my backout plan here. It all worked well. And the whole thing took about 40 minutes from start to finish. And I'm starving, so I'm going to get breakfast. So I'll end this video here, and I'll make another video when I do the rest of the setup. But for now, that's what I wanted to get going, and that'll do for now. So till next time, take it easy.